Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop, where everything's made up and the instructions don't matter. Got a special one for you here today. We're going to do an in-depth tool review. Like, really go through these things, use them, find ourselves in some typical industrial day-to-day situations, beat them up, bang them up, whatever a technician such as yourself may actually find yourself in that situation. So, right off the bat, full disclosure, these tools were provided to me through the manufacturer, Kaiweets. They actually reached out to me and offered to give me these tools for free so I could review them for them. And hey, why not? I mean, I'm obsessed with tools. I think you guys can figure that out for yourselves. So, I'm not being endorsed or paid by the company Kaiweets. They're simply providing me with some of their products and asked me for some honest feedback. So, that's what they're gonna get. Let's go ahead and dive into this and see what we got today. All right, guys, we're gonna do this by the book. So this part of the video takes place before the rest of the video because I wanted to make this authentic and show you guys me opening these things so you can see what it's like, see the packaging, see the tags, all that good stuff. So right off the bat here, you can tell it's nothing crazy, it's nothing to write home about, just regular old packaging that you would expect to see anything in. And that's honestly where the economy part comes into this. So you can tell here, right on front, they're not shy to tell you that these things are made in China. So at least they're not trying to pull one over on you. It's right on the package. And hey, Bruce Lee was made in China, so hey, why not? Let's give it a chance. So let's go ahead and rip these things open and see what it's all about. So you guys are looking down at me from my beer fridge right now. I figured I'd give you an aerial view of this so you can tell that I'm not cheating on you. The back of this wire stripper is pretty nice. If you can see here, it gives you a full gauge of what this thing is capable of. Yeah, it says it on the handle too, but at least back here, it gives you a nice little graph so you can know what to expect. So, let's go ahead and file that with the important stuff. I tell you what, man, these things are eerily similar to the Irwin wire strippers that are pretty much just like this. But there is some more stuff in the handle that the Irwins don't have. I'll bring you guys in and we'll look at this a little bit closer. So right out of the gate here, you guys can see this mechanism that on the left-hand side is where these jaws would grip the insulation of a wire, and on the right-hand side, this is where the stripping action would happen. And there's this stop that's adjustable. See, this thing, it flips up out of the way or in the way, whichever you want. And then you can lock it down with this stud right here. But you see how this action works. It grabs down on the cutting surface first and then onto the insulation. So it really bites down onto the copper and then strips the insulation from the copper. Now, like we were saying earlier, the difference between this one and the Irwin Vice Grip version, at least the standout that I see, is there are crimpers on the bottom here for insulated and non-insulated terminal ends. And there's this snazzy little stainless razor blade wire cutter thing here. So not only do you have the stripper up here, but you have a built-in wire cutter in the handle along with some crimp tools. So these are actually pretty handy. I'm curious to see how they're going to hold up in an industrial environment. And believe me, I will definitely let you guys know if and how and well they perform. Moving over to the ferrule kit. I tell you what, I have high hopes for this thing. Because I bought a knockoff one of these. I don't even remember where I got it. It was maybe 13 bucks in a similar kit like this. But I feel like this one is going to be just a tinge better and kind of what I'm looking for. So in this kit, not only do you get a whole gaggle of ferrules, but you get this snazzy little wire stripper too. I don't know how applicable this thing is going to be, Maybe like you throw it in your pocket or on your key ring or something. But the goal here is all of these notches right here represent the different gauges of wire. So you put your wire in there and then you spin this thing around that wire, and this razor blade is supposed to appropriately strip the jacket. And this thing on the tip, I suppose that's a stripper also. Maybe a punch down tool for Ethernet cable, I'm not really sure. But this is cool, it's just a little added thing that goes into the kit, so why not? It's nice to have. Now let's get into the crimper itself. Seems rather straightforward, 4-jaw. You can tell that they kind of like cam and articulate themselves into the center. That's what allows them to accommodate all these different diameters. You see if we can get some better light for you. That is pretty snazzy. I'll give it to them. Whoever put this together actually put a little bit of thought into this. And not only does this crimp, but it locks until you reach your full crimp, then it will open. And there's even a handle here, so like if you need to abort mission and unlock these things before you meet your full crimp, you can do that too, which is actually a pretty nice little feature. This guy here, you see this set screw? If you take this out and turn this knob to a different detent, you can see the plus and the minus there. This changes the depth of your crimp. So whenever you put this thing in a specific location, it will stop or start the handle at a different spot. So you can actually control how far and how hard you want to crimp a specific ferrule. So same thing like the strippers. I'm actually pretty excited to use these things in the field and give you guys an honest report on how they work, if they work, and if I genuinely like them. Alright guys, we're going to go on with some practical application here for this ferrule, crimper, and stripper combo. We're going to go and mock up some inputs and outputs on a PLC. Because honestly, if you're using this thing, chances are you're doing control stuff. Because if you're just doing the nitty gritty like terminating wires and doing a breaker panel or whatever, this really isn't your bag. So whenever we're doing stuff like this is kind of what we're looking for. So I have here just some crappy old stranded wire, and we're going to see how this goes actually terminating it into a PLC. So, like I talked about earlier, this little stop thing, it swings in and out of the way. And this is just a spring-loaded like lock. So whenever you push it, it reverts like back to its most open position. So you put it where you want it, something nice, happy medium. I don't know, right there looks good. So you can choose whether your wire goes in through it, like all the way so you can strip whatever distance you want, or you put this up there so every time you strip a wire, it's guaranteed to be the same length of like exposed material on the end. Let's go ahead and give this a go and see. Boop. Man, that's nice. I tell you what, those Irwin ones work okay, but I am really growing into these. I genuinely think that these work a lot nicer. So once we have our wire stripped, let's go ahead and get into the kit. Pick your applicable ferrule here. These are just a little piece of tin with some molded plastic onto the end to give you that nice finished look. You go ahead, slip that on. It's okay if you have some sticking out of the end. Honestly, I prefer that. It lets me know that I get good contact throughout the whole ferrule. Let's take the crimper, open her up, put our ferrule in there right until it meets the plastic part. Go down all the way till it doesn't click anymore. Release, and here you are. Look how nice that is. And because there's 4 jaws inside of this thing, it gives you a nice square crimp. So whenever you're going into a terminal, such as an output on a PLC, you know, everything is square. These things actually fit and index very well with those terminals. Let's see what that looks like. Now I tell you what, if you guys have ever spent any time terminating control stuff like this, you know Like, if you have a little bit of pride in your work, you're happy with the way things look whenever you leave them. So having something done like this, look how seamlessly that goes into this output fitting. And whenever you clamp it down, you know you have a secure termination that's going to last for a long time. You're not worried about the strands of wires falling out of this thing. And for troubleshooting, whenever you need to take stuff in and out, it's super handy because you don't have that stranded piece of crap hanging out of the end of your wire. You can reuse this multiple times. And when it comes to these strippers here, I was really looking over them. And on the back here, this injection molded part kind of caught my eye. And because I'm not happy with good enough, let's go ahead and tear this apart and just see what's happening inside here. So there's just a couple, what looks to be, I don't know, it's probably like a 1032. There's some little machine screw. Well, nothing really exciting yet. Let's go ahead, there's a couple more of these. Rip all that out. Well, here we go. Well, it's obvious that these two pieces here are cast. You can tell here there's mold marks and dead giveaways that these things were either die cast or something of the sort. Here we got a stamped piece of steel, an assist spring that it accompanies the front here, so there's multiple that help this thing go. This guy, this wiper arm here, it looks like it hits a detent that operates this. So whenever this thing isn't touching, that's what engages the insulation jaw. And then whenever it returns back to neutral, that detent tells everything to open so it knows what's going on. That's actually pretty clever in the simplicity of its design. Not crazy that this cast piece here is riveted onto the handle. It's not very user-friendly should you need to disassemble this thing and do any kinds of repair, but let's be honest, you're probably not going to do any fixing to these things. If you needed a new set, you would just get a new set. But for curiosity's sake, it's cool to see what's going on inside of here. And I tell you, as far as the handle goes, these things seem to be, if I had to guess, HDPE, some sort of polyethylene with like a butyl overcoat. So that tells me right away that these are injection molded twice. So you would make this piece first, and then it goes back into the mold, and the butyl gets put over it. Because you can tell right out of the gate, there's two different durometers here. This black part is really nice, soft, grippy. We'll see how it holds up against brake cleaner, because a lot of you guys know you spray a can of something that's gnarly on here, and a lot of stuff, it just kind of melts off. Hey, for giggles, let's just do it now. Let's see what happens. I'm sure Mr. Alan Bradley's happy about that, but hey man, it seems to be happy. I mean, it doesn't turn goopy, it doesn't leave any residue. So I tell you what, I got to give the handle a 10 out of 10. It's sturdy, it's robust, and now you know it won't melt with brake and carbon choke cleaner, and this is a nice handle all the way around. Alright guys, so we're back at the shop here, and I may have glossed over the part numbers, so let me just slap that out for you. This is the KWS 103 wire stripper and the KDC 01 wire furl crimper kit, which is honestly awesome. I love how this whole thing comes together. I mean, the case isn't great. I mean, it's just injection plastic. I mean, it is what it is, but it's nice to have everything put together, so if you need to do this, you just have it, grab it, and go. So I mentioned earlier that this one in particular shares a lot of similarities with the Irwin. Well, just so happens, we got the Irwin one right here. I've had these ones for quite a while, but you can tell from the cleanliness of these that I generally don't use these because really I like the old Emmanuel style. But one glaring difference that I found, The Kaiweets, you see here in the jaws, it has hardened steel inserts for the gripping portion and for the stripping portion. The Irwin does not have that. These are just all cast together, and if you can tell on the wire stripping portion, there is little to almost no blade on the stripping side. And honestly, with these things, more often than not, I find the cutter slipping off of the stripped portion more than anything. I just, for some reason, I never really fell in love with these things. I know they're supposed to be great and they're supposed to be user-friendly and easy, but every time I grab for these things, I found myself being more frustrated than anything. So that's why they still look new, because I've almost never used them. I mentioned before about these crimpers in the bottom, and they are way more versatile than the Irwin. Even like, look at the cutter area here. This is just like ground into the handle, and it kind of is what it is. With the Kaiweets, you have a replaceable stainless steel insert that is significantly sharper. And I don't know if you guys will be able to pick this up. Whenever that cutter hits, it acts kind of like a guillotine there. Like it has a shearing action. One side hits before the other, and then it rocks over the pivot. So this is actually like a really good cutter. And just, I don't know, I feel like these ones are just a better fit. Alrighty then. So, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and torture test these things a little bit and see how they can hang. Because like, I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but sometimes you're on the roof fixing an AC unit and all of a sudden your stuff falls your stuff falls off the ladder. You don't know what it looks like once you get to the ground. So let's go ahead and take a look. Well, so far so good. Let's see what else it can take. Maybe you're working upstairs. What happens if these things take a tumble from the top rope? Oh no, what happened? I seem to have dropped my tools. I tell you what, man, they're putting up with it. Well, the strippers seem to handle some banging around, so let's see what the crimpers can do. I mean, I'm not gonna throw the whole kit. Let's not get crazy here. I'll spend the next 6 hours cleaning up furrows. But the crimpers themselves, these things seem pretty robust. I don't foresee an issue with these ones, but hey, why not, right? Slam test number 1. We're still operating. Let's go back to the tried and true top rope, shall we? How clumsy of me. I keep on throwing my tools all the way from up here. What could go wrong? Well, here we are with the top rope test. Still working. I'm liking it so far. So let's do the old brake cleaner douse test and see if the handles hold up, see what does what. I mean, this is a good way to find out if you got any cuts in your hand you didn't know about. Okay, so the paint on the name, that's wearing off, but honestly, who cares? The handle is holding up really good, because these things would turn goopy if this was a crappy kind of rubber. I'm sure you guys have dealt with ratchets and stuff in the past that the handle just melts as soon as it touches anything like carb cleaner, brake cleaner, whatever. But hey, everything seems to still be working fine and the handles are holding up. Well guys, upon further investigation, I did find a little bit of a battle wound here on the bottom. Apparently this is what hit the ground first after the top rope drop test, but honestly, it had absolutely no effect on the function of the tool. So maybe just don't chuck your stuff off the top of the building and it'll last for a long time. But for the argument's sake of this video, I wanted to make sure that this thing actually still worked whenever I slammed it from 30 feet in the air. So guys, in conclusion, what do I think? I think these things are freaking awesome for what you're getting here. It's an economic deal. It's a pretty good quality tool for what you're getting, and apparently they will hold up. I mean, obviously I can't tell you how it'll be 10 years from now, but through what I put them through, I mean, your tools normally don't see that. So I feel like these are going to be around for a long time. And right now at Kaiweets.com, they are running a promotion through Dan's Pro Shop that if you enter the promo code DAN15, that's DAN15, you will get a 15% discount off of your order at Kaiweets.com. So be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for these two items specifically, and just to their website. I mean, just because I reviewed these doesn't mean they have all kinds of stuff to look at. I mean, their website's great. They're a relatively new company. I did my homework so I could get you guys more in-depth information. They started somewhere around 2017, 2018, and from what I understand, it was a group of techs and engineers that just got together and wanted to provide more user-friendly and available tools to people like us that actually use them. So again, that promo code is DAN15 for a 15% discount off of your order. And not to mention, they have free shipping in the US and the UK, as if you needed more of an incentive to get another tool. So be sure to check out these links in the description, and we will see you guys next time.